Hey everybody, hey, it's Lee Godbold over here at Junk Removal Authority, where we help junk removal business owners make more money and live a better life. All right, what we're talking about today, right now, is how in the world do you come up with the money to get your very first dump truck? And yes, I want to make sure I made this very clear. I said dump truck also. I said nothing about trailers, pickup trucks and trailers, or box trucks, or anything like that. I didn't mention anything about detachable bins like dumpsters. Listen, once you have become successful and you've built up a great junk removal business, if you want to go and you want to start a dumpster business, which is an excellent business, a lot of profits to be made, it is a fairly easily run business, but there's more upfront investments, and it's very different from junk. Yes, you're hauling trash, but the entire way you go about it is completely different. You need more equipment. You've got to have better drivers, and it's a completely different set of people that you're actually marketing to. So your marketing is completely different. So don't think that junk and dumpsters is the exact same business, and don't say, hey, I'm going to get a detachable bin or a dumpster or roll-off or hook lift truck to do junk removal, because you simply wind up paying more money up front. You have to get a larger truck. There's more maintenance to be done, and you're just increasing the complexity and the expense. You need to start out with a dump truck, so we have to get that established. Now, what kind of truck do you need? Well, we mentioned other than just being a dump truck. You don't want to go out and get some generic dump truck. There's dump trucks all up and down the road. You don't want to go out and just buy some random dump truck and put it to use. There are purpose-built junk removal trucks like we make at junkremovaltrucksforsale.com that we provide that feature some very important things to have on a junk truck. So a purpose-built junk truck. So what are some of the things a purpose-built junk truck might have? One is ladders, ramp, tool storage, flat side panels for graphics, top-mounted tarp, etc. Dual barn doors, that's another one. There's several different features that a purpose-built junk removal truck is actually going to have that a regular dump truck isn't. So before we get into talking about the money, we want to make sure you're getting the right truck. So that's for the body. The other thing we recommend is a cab over. Now your cab over trucks would be, at this point, it's either a Isuzu or Chevy W4500. Now this is the exact same truck. It's just one has Chevrolet branding, one has Isuzu branding. There's literally no difference in the platform itself. So the cab over trucks, they handle extremely well. That's the reason we recommend cab over. You also 100% want to go with the new truck. So here's why. Used trucks are very, very, very tempting for people to go with, simply because a lot of times you have the cash saved up. Spending $80,000 on a vehicle just scares the hell out of you, and it should. I'm not debating that. So spending that much money when you first get started on a junk removal truck should scare the hell out of you, unless you've done it before, you've owned other businesses. So it's extremely tempting to go out and get used. The first 6 trucks that we had here at Junk Doctors, our junk removal company, Junk Doctors in North Carolina, were all used. Here's what we found. Over the handful of years, I don't know, 4 years, that all we had were those 6 used trucks. Over those 4 years, by the time we started putting in transmissions and engines and changing out water pumps and alternators and all the other fuel injectors, all the other parts and pieces of these trucks that would wear out, by the time we added all that amount together, we actually spent more on maintenance than we spent, or at least as much on maintenance as we would have spent on a full truck payment, having financed that and had brand new trucks. The exact same amount. But it's not a wash. Why is it not a wash? It's not a wash because downtime kills you. So on these trucks, every single time one of those trucks goes down, generally it's not at your office, so you have to tow them back to the service center. You have to get your guys Uber back to another location. You got to go rent a truck. Most likely, unless you have a backup truck, you're going to have to go rent a Penske truck or a U-Haul or a budget truck or whatever. We generally recommend Penske. And your guys have to get on that Penske truck. All right, so you got the rental costs there. You have the downtime, the extra time you've been having to move them around. You have the tow bill. You have the Uber bill. Now they're going to go off to this job site and they're going to do this job. And they are going to load everything up. That's not going to be a huge deal. But the customer's going to be a little confused because this Penske truck's pulling up. Aren't you supposed to be a real professional company and you're pulling up in a Penske truck? And then after everything gets loaded up, you're going to go off to the landfill or transfer station. And those Penske trucks, they're not a dump truck. So you're going to have to hand unload all that stuff. So you're doubling the amount of time almost anyway. You're almost doubling your labor by doing this. So it's very, very, very expensive. Not to mention, you're going to take the happiness of your crew and it's going to go down because they're having to ride around in a rental truck, because mainly they're having to hand unload. So it's harder on your guys. It lowers morale. Especially one of the biggest morale detractors is going to be if you have a truck that is breaking down on you all the time. We got to the point where there was one or two of these trucks. It was like every month this thing was breaking down. I became best friends with the tow company, the local tow company, and I mean I think they probably bought a truck or two off of us because we were wanting used trucks. We were spending so much money on tow bills. They were putting down payments on brand new trucks just because of our decision to go used. So used trucks is generally not the way to go. Now, when might you actually get used? Well, it's pretty simple. If you've got bad credit, no credit, then you're probably going to need to go the used route. But what I would recommend doing, we're going to talk about this in a minute. There's something I'd recommend doing even if you have to go used. The other reason to go used, there pretty much isn't one. If you have the capacity to come up with the down payment, if you have the credit score and potentially vehicle payment history to get a loan on a brand new junk removal truck, that is absolutely 100% without a shadow of a doubt the way that you need to go. Downtime is going to kill you. Unpredictability is going to kill you. You want to know when you turn that key, that truck is going to crank up. If you have a busy day and your schedule is full of jobs and your truck breaks down and you get on a rental truck, you go from being able to do 5, 6, 7 jobs in a day to being able to do 2 or 3. You're going to have to call those customers up and reschedule them. You're going to be missing out on money. You're going to be costing yourself money. Those customers you reschedule, they might not want to be rescheduled. They might have to go this very day. And because you don't have a reliable truck that's going to get you there, your competitor is going to take that job. They're going to get the review. They're going to get the referral to all the friends and family, and they're going to get the repeat business. You have to have a truck. There's too many variables in this business, weather, seasonality, whatever, getting labor, to go and also get a used vehicle. Control what you can control. It's a lot easier to control getting a new truck than it is making sure that you have enough people in this labor market, controlling the weather, controlling the seasonality, whatever. So you control what you want to control. Go new. Go new. So we were talking briefly a little bit about new, but I want to expand a little bit on this also, because a lot of people don't realize this. A lot of people don't realize the tax benefits when you go new. So why new? Well, number one, before we get into tax stuff, less downtime. Now notice I said less downtime. These trucks are going to still break down at some point. It's inevitable. So, and it might happen, you might get a brand new truck and the thing might break down and have something wrong within a week, but it's covered under warranty. They'll normally jump on it and get it squared away and get it back out in the field. So, but overall, there's no question you can have a lot less downtime on this vehicle. But there's tax benefits. Some of you guys are sitting there thinking, because you're used to buying personal vehicles, if you've never owned business equipment, if you've never filed a business tax return, you don't realize or you don't think about that, every expense, everything you buy in a business has some sort of a tax write-off associated with it. So as of now, as of 2021 tax laws, it's 2022 now, but as of the latest 2020 or 2021 tax laws, you can write off up to $250K of equipment purchases. I'm going to say truck purchases because almost everything you're going to be buying is going to be trucks. So for now, there's truck purchases in 1 year. Now, you don't have to take this. Talk to your accountant, figure out if it makes sense or not. But you can either write it off all in 1 year, or basically you can write it off over a depreciation schedule. I think it's normally like 7 years. So you're going to be able to write it off over 7 years. You're going to be able to write it off all in 1 year. Irregardless, there's going to be a tax write-off. There's a tax advantage, so you're not going to have to pay taxes on this income. So let's do a little math right here. All right, we're going to talk about these tax benefits. Let's say you've got two options right here. The first is a used truck. Let's go used. All right, for a purpose-built used junk removal truck in January of 2022, I'm going to say you're going to pay for anything decent. So this is going to be in a Isuzu or a Chevy, if you can find them, because the market for trucks is a little tight right now, so a lot of people aren't getting rid of their used ones. So if you can even find one, an old one with an old blue body on it, or an orange or red body, or maybe an old junk removal trucksforsale.com body, might find somebody potentially selling one. I don't know of anybody, but if you've got, so let's say that's going to cost you $35,000. So this truck right here, this is probably, if you're going to find a $35,000 junk removal truck, this is probably a truck that's maybe 3 or 4 years old, maybe 3 to 5 years old, and it probably has 120,000 miles on it, somewhere in that range. So it's about half used up at that point. And you're going to pay about $35,000 or so for it. So the way this is going to work on your tax end of things, and these numbers, they're going to vary a little bit depending on your financial situation. But let's say you take your $35,000 and we're going to multiply that by 0.35. So that's 35%. A lot of people in taxes, you're going to pay about 35% on your income taxes. So you take your $35,000 and we're going to multiply that by 35, I'm just going to say 35%. So we're going to have, in taxes, that's normally going to be $12,250. Basically, $12,250, you're not going to have to pay that now in taxes. You otherwise would have had to pay that in taxes. So now we're going to take that $35,000 and we're going to subtract $12,250 from that. So $35,000 minus $12,250. That truck is going to wind up, your actual hard cost on that truck is going to be $22,750. This is like your, if you're looking at it from a tax saving standpoint, $22,750 for used. Now let's look at the new route. Let's say a new truck now, hopefully a year from now, these prices have come down. Things are elevated right now. Right now, let's say you're going to pay $80,000 for a new truck. $80,000 for a new truck. We're going to multiply that by 35%. $80,000 times 35%. So we got a $28,000 write-off at this point. So $28,000. So now we're going to take our 80 grand. We're going to subtract $28,000. $52,000 is now the hard cost for this vehicle. Because of these tax differences, you have effectively narrowed this depreciation gap by a ton. So this truck right here is half used up. The engine's half used up on used truck. 125,000 miles in. By mile 150,000, 200,000, you're going to start losing water pumps, alternators might be going out. You're going to start having maintenance issues already as soon as that hits. So your maintenance bill is going to be already going up. Yet, if you look at it from this standpoint, 22,750 times 2 is 45,500. You're basically only about $6,500 difference. So basically what I'm showing here is you're very close on the depreciation schedule to have catching back up. And then once you account for the less downtime, the higher employee morale because they're in a new truck. Clients love seeing new trucks pull up. It makes you seem much more professional. You're going to be able to get a higher price point. It's going to stand out more going down the road. So you factor in those extra benefits, and money-wise, like, there's no advantage at all to a used truck. Not in the short term, and especially not in the long term. So tax benefits is something that a lot of people simply do not think about. The final thing, and this is something kind of psychological on why you should go new. Why you should go new is simply because it's going to scare you. And I mentioned that earlier. This is actually an advantage and not a disadvantage. Now, why is that? Why is being scared good? Because when you're scared, you know you got to wake up every single morning and you have to do the right things to actually follow through and make this business work. So all the time, if I see people and they tell me they want to try out a particular business, you don't generally try out a business. You might set it up in a way that you hedge your losses, but you need to be going completely in on it, especially when you've done your research. If you look around, there are thousands of people making junk removal an extremely good business that are earning a great income and enjoying an amazing lifestyle. It's proven. The formula is out there. It's proven. All you have to do is make a commitment, give it the time and the effort, and be smart about what you do, and you're going to be successful. Start out on the right foot by going with a new truck. So, now that we've established that you need a new purpose-built junk removal truck, how can you actually go about getting this truck? So a lot of people, when they first get into business, especially blue collar businesses and all in general, and I was very much this way when I first got started, you want to go about it, we'll say it's the Dave Ramsey route, where you want to go about it completely debt-free. Being debt-free on your personal lifestyle is absolutely amazing. You should have the money to buy anything from a personal end of things. I think that is an awesome, 100% accurate thing to do. What happens though is in business, the rules aren't quite the same, because in business, when you go out and you borrow something, you're borrowing for something that can earn you money. So once you get this brand new junk removal truck, it's going to earn you money. So by going out and taking out a loan, and because you don't have the money to actually pay cash for this truck, or maybe you have the money but you want to conserve it. You want to have it available to be able to pay payroll and advertising and other areas to not only get you business but carry out your work and grow your business. You need to borrow, and you'll put that truck to work, and it's actually going to earn you money. So borrow. That's the way. Unless you are flush with cash, you're going to have to borrow. Now, what does that mean? What do car companies actually look at when you're buying a commercial vehicle? So when you're buying a commercial vehicle, well, there's basically two things. Well, there's several things. There's maybe three things they're going to look at. They're going to look at your income. This could be with your spouse. They're going to look at your credit score. There's more, but these are like kind of the big three. And they're going to look at your vehicle payment history. So, if you have, what is a good credit score considered to be in terms of borrowing for a commercial truck? And this is not entirely 100% accurate, but generally you're going to need to be over greater than 600, greater than or equal to 600. And anything below 600 probably isn't going to go through unless you have a really positive vehicle payment history. And even then, you're probably going to pay a higher interest rate. So greater than or equal to 600. I'm not even positive this is the right symbol, but you guys know what I mean. It's been a little while. And then anything considered excellent, or I'd say good, is anything from like 680 to 720, and then 720 plus is kind of considered excellent. So at 720 plus, you're generally going to get, and I mean, obviously, if you get on up to 770, 800, you're getting even better. But if any of you guys are at 770, 800, this is, you know what's going on here, and you don't have to worry about it. But so let's say you come in at a 580 and you don't have very good vehicle payment history, you're probably going to have to go used, which is what we mentioned earlier. You're going to have to go the used route. Now, what I would do is when you go used, buy that vehicle and finance at least part of it. So if it's a $35,000 vehicle, figure out how much you're going to have to put down to get a reasonable interest rate. Now, what is reasonable? In this day and time, you can get interest rates as low as 4% for a commercial loan. In your case, you might pay 10%. That's fine. Get something established so you can start establishing a positive vehicle payment history and begin working on your credit score. The next thing is you just got to research, how do I get my credit score up? And I'm not going to go through that in this video. Get online and just search for, how do I improve my credit score? And you need to start working on that. As your business has been in business longer, and you've got some tax returns, and you have positive vehicle payment history, and you improve your credit score, then you're going to be able to get this brand new junk removal dump truck. Down payments. Let's talk about down payments, because one of the things you're probably going to have to do is put money down unless you have an extremely good credit score or you've bought several trucks. Remember, we're just talking about your first dump truck here, not several of them. So generally a $10,000 down payment is sufficient, probably more than sufficient. But when you're sitting there and you're saying, all right, how do I go about getting a junk removal dump truck? Have that be your target. Have 10 grand available to spend on a junk removal dump truck. Now, that doesn't mean you should be going out and spending every single penny that you have on your junk truck if you're already in business, because you're going to need some cash reserves. It's normally, at least having a month worth of cash reserves when you're early on is desirable. Not always possible, but desirable. So you don't want to spend every penny you have on this down payment, but have a truck fund set up where you contribute a certain amount every month to that truck fund, and then you'll know in, hey, 3, 4, 6 months, 8 months, whatever, I'll have the 10 grand down that I need to move forward on this thing. How might you come up with this money, this $10,000? Well, if you're in business already, you keep doing the same things you've been doing and just do more of it. If you're not in business yet, if you've got a fairly high-paying job, don't think you have to stop your job right now and go out and start a junk removal business. You might just want to figure out, hey, at my current job, is there any way for me to make any more money? Is there any additional responsibilities I can take on? Is there a second job I can take? I don't recommend, unless you already have a pickup truck and trailer out there, that you go out and you buy a pickup truck and trailer and you get started if you already have a high-paying job. So if you're already making even 60 grand, 60, 80, especially if you're making 100, 150. We have guys making 100, 150. They're talking about starting a junk removal truck. They have the income potential to go ahead and get a nice little nest egg saved up. They cut back on their lifestyle. They take that money, they put it away in a business startup fund, and then they've got this nice little cushion when they get started, so they can spend money on the trucks and the advertising and the people and the insurance and the JRA business package, whatever, for training, so they avoid all the mistakes, whatever, all those expenses. So if you have a higher paying job, continue working your job, live as frugally as possible on the personal side of things, put away as much money as possible, and you're going to be really ready to rock and roll in your business. If you're already in business though, just find a way to get as many customers as you can, keep expenses as low as you can in terms of anything that's not leading to more work. So if you're advertising and it's working for you and all like that, do more of it. bring in as much money as you can, get that down payment down, and get out and get a truck. We make junk removal trucks. It's all we do in the truck end of things is we build a junk removal dump truck, purpose built. It's based on 10 years, or I guess it's almost 12 years of experience in the junk removal industry now. Has all the features all the features you need, none of the features you don't need. I got that a little mixed up there. So check us out at junkremovaltrucksforsale.com. Again, I'm Lee Godbold with Junk Removal Authority, where we help junk removal business owners make more money and live a better life. We'll see you next time.